Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Today is September 22nd, 2025. It is so good to see you all this beautiful and amazing Monday morning here in Austin, Texas. Lots to go over. As you know, our Monday morning touch point is designed to equip all of us to understand exactly what is happening with the Austin market. What are the leading indicators? How is that going to impact decisions that we and our clients may make this week? We meet every morning, Monday morning, where we update the new listing to pending ratio, a very simple and effective ratio that simply calculates the difference between new properties and back on the market, anything that is coming into the market in relation to what's being absorbed by the market, active under contract and pending. That's what we're going to update this morning. We are also going to take a look at inventory, what is happening with active inventory, what's happening with absorption, and really answer all of your questions related to the Austin market. So thank you all so very much for joining our Monday morning touch point. Let's go ahead and get started. This is where we are going to update the weekly first. First thing we're going to do is go backwards in time a little bit and update both the active under contract and the pending over the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, because as you know, agents are really bad when it comes to updating properties that went under contract. And then from there, we are going to update this past week. We always focus on the 6-county area. That's going to be Travis, Williamson, Bastrop, Caldwell. Let's go ahead and add Caldwell County, Caldwell, and Burnett. Let's go ahead and add Burnett, and then Hayes County. That's going to be the area that we're going to focus on for this specific touch point. And we're going to go from the 8th to the 15th. We're going to take a look at active under contract. This number is going to go from 469 to 472. Then we're going to go to pending, and this number is going to go from 351 to 353. Let's go ahead and go backwards in time a little bit from the 1st all the way through the 8th. That's going to be 404. That doesn't change. 25th through the 1, that's going to be 441. So that goes up by 1. 18 through the 25th, that's going to be 468. 11 through the 18th, that's going to be 482. Let me just go a few more weeks. This is going to be 468. I'm just going to do one more week just to be sure that we have the latest and greatest. That's going to be 488. Nothing else changes. So there we have it. So take a look at this. We had a really nice stretch. We were looking here at 6 weeks with really decent ratios within the 8s. And that's going to be a very positive indicator. That's going to put us at the decent absorption in relation to new product entering the market. We want to see things around the 0.8. Before these 6 weeks, we struggled around the 0.6s. We had 1.8 right there, back to the 0.6s, into the 0.7. But this is what all this means. When you see a ratio of 0.7, that in essence means that out of every one property that comes on the market, 0.7 is being absorbed by the market. So let's extrapolate that into whole numbers. That means out of 100 properties entering the market, 70 are being absorbed by the market. You get into the 6s or the 6.3. That's 100 properties come on the market and 63 are being absorbed by the market. And that creates inventory. That is a fairly low number. That puts the market in the category where we see a pretty substantial increase in inventory. When we are at the 0.7, the word that I like to use is that we see a tangible increase in inventory. Now, a few things can be right while seemingly sounding opposing. And this is what I mean by this. I'm telling you that a 0.7 ratio is going to give us a tangible increase in inventory, but yet we've got less inventory today than we had a month ago. Well, how in the world is that possible? The market is cyclical. So we will see inventory going down, but if the ratio is going down, inventory is not going down because that product is being absorbed by demand. Inventory is going down because of expireds, withdrawns, people deciding not to list their homes during the going into the fall, which isn't today like the first day of fall, I heard. That is just a normal market cycle. Actives go up, they peak around June, July, they drop, they bottom out in December, they start picking back up. The market is very cyclical. You can go and take a look at market update. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and do this really quick. You take a look at market update, and what are you going to notice? Here we have it. You're going to notice just active listings. And look at that peak, June. This was June. That was June. That was June. We always have natural market peaks that tends to be into the May, June, July time frame. It was June this past year. It was June the year before. Sometimes it's May. When you take a look at 2022, the market actually peaked in September. And that was a fairly odd thing. It peaked in September, same thing 2021. Not the case 2020. That was closer to May. So the market is always going to be cyclical, but it's the why is inventory going down? Is inventory going down because of absorption, because of buyer demand? If that were the case, well, then the ratio would be 0.9, 0.95 into the ones, 1.5, meaning out of 100 properties that came on the market, 105 were absorbed by the market. But when inventory is going down and we have a ratio around the 0.7, we can say with confidence that inventory is not going down because of absorption. It's actually going down because of expireds, withdrawns in the normal cyclical market. Really important for us to understand the distinction. Let's go ahead and take a look at this week. New listings. Oh, interesting. 815. That's a low number. So far, we've had 815 new listings come on the market between September 15th all the way through September 22nd. Last week, it was 991. Keep in mind, we're going to get more new listings come on the market between today, like right now at 10:09, all the way through 11:59 p.m. tonight, and then the number locks in, and that's going to be the number forever. That is why tomorrow morning you're going to receive an email from me with the updated latest new listing to pending ratio so that you can see exactly how many new listings came on the market. Let's take a look at price increase. We're at 262. And one thing about this 262, you notice that at the end of the month, what do we have? An increase. Here's end of the month. Let's right here, end of the month. This one kind of overlapped into the beginning of the month. But historically, towards the end of the month, we start noticing an increase in what? In price increases. I guarantee you, if I were to poll these 262 properties that had a price increase, 90 to 95% of those are going to be new construction. And that tends to be a strategy that builders will put into play, which is we're ending the month. Let's go ahead and increase prices. Let's tell people that came here over the weekend, hey, prices are going up. Let's increase it 5,000. We can always adjust it 2 weeks later if we don't get it under contract. Builders have been doing this for decades. They're going to keep on doing this forever. But here we've got that 262. Let's take a look at price decreases. We're at 1837. Not a bad number. This drops down to 88. So we now broke a 3-week trend where we were over the 90%. That's going to be the difference, the price movement difference. Out of everything that went up or down in pricing, what's the relationship for the ones that went down? We did break that 90 percentile. Let's take a look at back on the market. We're at 161 back on the market, 20% right in line with last week. Active under contract. Okay, 352. And you know the drill. We've got a lot of participants here in the call. Super appreciate you being here. And this is where you get to guess. We need 5 people guessing. We need 5 guesses. How many pendings? How many pendings? We've got Kevin Walker starting us off at, let's take a look at it here, 298. We've got Melanie Price, 259, 2 down. We've got 222, Sonia. We've got Liz at 245. Thank you so much. We've got Renee at 232. Anai at 210. Let's go ahead and take a look at this number. And this number is going to come in. Okay, so let's see here. We've got 210. We've got, Anai's going to win, 213. 213. So we're starting off the week at a 0.58 ratio. What does this mean? This means that we're going to end, when we continue to revisit this number, we're going to be right around that 0.7. So we continue to see a market that is struggling, absorbing new listings coming into the market. That 0.7 is going to give us that tangible increase in available inventory. It is disappointing that we stayed 6 weeks in a row over that 0.8, and all of a sudden we just hit this resistance. The reason why it's disappointing is because it's at the very same time where rates reached a 11-month low on Wednesday. Unfortunately, you can see the back screen right there. You take a look at the bond market, and we are slightly up compared to where we were this time last week. So unfortunately, we did lose some ground when it comes to interest rates. From Friday until today, we were left mostly unchanged. We're at 6.5% on the 30-year conventional, 6 1/8. That's going to be 6.125 on the 15-year, and then 5.875 on FHA, VA, USDA, 6.5 jumbo, and then 6.875 on investor with 1 additional point. A little bit worse. We got down to 6.375 on conventional. That's where we were Monday of last week. It did inch up a little bit, 1/8 of a point, and it looks like we're going to hold steady right there. If you take a look at the bond market today, let's just take a look at it here. Okay, we're up 0.5 of a basis point on the bond market. We've got a fairly important week when it comes to economic data. I'm going to go over the economic calendar here shortly, but we are starting off the week at a 0.58 ratio. Now, take a look at the number of open houses. We now have had, over the past 7 days, the largest number of open house offerings going all the way back to June 23rd. Going all the way back to June 23rd. And the response that I'm getting from you all, that open houses have been fairly tough here recently. That traffic is down a little bit. A lot of walk-ins already have agents. All of this is definitely pointing the picture of what we discussed on Friday, that there certainly appears to be a non-coordinated pause in the market. And the question that I'm getting is, well, why? It doesn't make any sense. We've got decent price drops. We've got good interest rate environment going back a few years. Why is there a pause in the market? Well, you want the answer? My opinion is that the market has entered, and we did discuss this on Friday, but we've got people here that didn't go to the meeting on Friday, so I do want to revisit this. My concern, in my opinion, is that we're at the precipice of entering a deflationary mindset in real estate, where buyers right now that are ready and able are not quite willing. They're ready, they qualify, they're able, they're comfortable with the rate, but it's the willing component, right? So you've got a buyer that's ready, willing, and able. What we're missing right now is that middle component, is the willing. What is causing this unwillingness on the part of a buyer right now? It's the deflationary mindset. Well, what is that? It's when enough consumers are convinced, whether through headlines, through data, through their own internal feelings, that tomorrow's environment is going to be more favorable for their purchasing power, their finances than today's environment. It's tomorrow's rate is going to be better than today's. Tomorrow's pricing is going to be better than today's. Tomorrow's inventory is going to be better than today's. It's the opposite of what happened when we had the inflationary environment, which is the complete opposite. Rates are going to be higher tomorrow than they are today. Prices are going to be higher tomorrow than they are today. So what must I do? Buy now, no matter what. Well, right now we have the opposite mindset. Why would I buy now when tomorrow's going to be a better environment than today? Here's the challenge. We don't know what that tomorrow will be. We don't know what that tomorrow is going to be. It could be February of 2026. Could be February of 2028. A contributing factor, and Violet, you certainly bring this up, something else that we spoke about on Friday, you overlap with economic uncertainty and the job numbers are not looking pretty. They haven't looked pretty. The 1 million job revision from March of 2024 all the way to March 2025. And then we've got continual pushback on any economic gain related to jobs. I mean, jobs are really struggling right now. You add that uncertainty. So you add a belief system that tomorrow's product is going to be cheaper and it's going to cost less. And then you overlay that with, well, plus, what if I lose my job? You add those two together and why would a buyer make a decision right now? That is what's happening. That's a very good point, Viola. It absolutely is a part of the equation and something that we have to take into consideration. So this is the psychology of the market. It's something that we can't control. We can absolutely provide the client with information. I also do fall into the camp that the deal of a lifetime comes around once a day. And there are buyers out there and clients out there that will say, well, I feel like tomorrow it's going to be a better environment. But if I do find the perfect property, then I'm willing and ready to move forward. And the perfect property could be right around the corner, especially with sellers being willing to offer concessions that just even a few months ago or years ago were absolutely unheard of. As a matter of fact, you received an email from me a few days ago. What was the email that you received from me a few days ago? Do you remember that email that you received from me? What was it? Can someone tell me? You received an email from me just a few days ago. What was that? What was that email that you received? Do you remember? Anyone? Do y'all check your emails over the weekend? You received an email from me just a few days ago. Anyone? Check your email. Opportunities. Thank you all. Absolutely. The top 100 opportunities. Let's go there really quick. I'm going to show you what's going on out there. We've got top 100. Keep in mind, you all, it's top 100. Let me go to tpre.io. That's what it is, top 100. And it's got top 100 opportunities. I didn't put opportunities. I'm going to go find a property here for you. Let's take a look at this really quick. We are going to, where's this 379-ish or so? Take a look at this property. Cute little property. Newfoundland Circle. I wouldn't live in that street just because I would hate having to spell that all the time. Now, there's a few things about this property that are pretty cool, and then a few things about this property that are just absolutely insanity. A little bit of a funky floor plan. It just doesn't really flow that great. I don't know if this is virtual staging or not. I have no idea, but okay, staging. Not a big fan of the staging personally. Ridiculous, right? Seriously, you're going to take a property down to almost the studs and you're going to put your stackable washer and dryer like right there in the kitchen. That's like, in my opinion, just absurd, just ridiculous. Put this somewhere else. Put this in one of the bedrooms or something, or at least build like a cabinet. Put like a cabinet around it. Like, oh, is that a pantry? Well, it's my washer and dryer. Okay, well, I didn't notice. Oh, no. Right here, you've got that front and center. It's almost like, check it out. We've got a washer and dryer. That's ridiculous. I hate these lights. I think these lights are just completely out of place. I think they're absolutely hideous. But you can see they put some significant amount of money and time and effort. Okay, that ceiling fan, that's fine. That people like those big ceiling fans nowadays. Okay, so bottom line, here's the property. I tend to be overly critical when it comes to real estate. It is what it is. And here's the property. I'm not a big fan of the tile in the bathroom, but clearly this was a top to bottom remodel. This property is on the market for $379,000. They bought this property back in 2021 for $359,000. This is what it looked like back in 2021. So just bad, right? Take a look at that. I mean, just bad. And they put a lot of work into it. I mean, they opened up the kitchen. This was all blocked off. That's where they put that beautiful washer and dryer. So they open up everything. They put quite a bit of money. I don't know, what, 150 grand? And then they list this property for $579,000. Took way too long to remodel this property. It looks like they did lease it. Okay, I know exactly what happened. They remodel this property. They buy it for $395,000. The market then switches. The market peaked May of 2022. And they're like, wow, well, let's just wait until next year or 2 years from now when the market comes back. Did anyone here have sellers say that back in 2022, 2023? Well, let's just take it off the market. I'll lease it for a year, and then I'll wait until the market comes back. We had a bunch of people do that. So that's what they did. They waited until the market, quote unquote, came back. So they price it for $579 down to $549. Then they go ahead and withdraw it, and they immediately relist it. They get a new agent. They go from Let's Move Austin to Luxley Real Estate at $499. $499. Keep in mind, they paid $395 for it. Probably put in a good $150. And where are we now? We're at $379. We are now $20,000, $15,000, $16,000. I think it's like 15. We are now close to $15,000 under what they paid for it pre-remodel back in 2021. Isn't that absolutely insane just to see this? Well, guess who's seeing this information? Buyers are seeing this information, right? So buyers are like, oh, wow, I'm sure glad I didn't just pull the trigger almost a year ago. That's what buyers are noticing. And when you take a look at tax record, what are you going to notice? There we have it. A year ago, the property actually got foreclosed on. Now, nowhere on the MLS does it say that this is a real estate owned. Under special listing condition, they should mark that this is real estate owned. They don't mark it real estate owned. It is what it is, whatever. But this property got foreclosed on. So not only did the investor have their down payment wiped away, and when we go back to this, we can see that this was what? Okay, this was cash. So I don't know. That's probably what happened, right? They probably did more than likely because it was cash and then they remodeled. It might have been like a hard money lending or something like that. Who knows? But a significant portion of their investment is gone. At one point, they did take out a loan on the property. We know that they took out a loan on the property, and that was right here. So 221 LLC, that's kind of when they bought it. And then in 2024, FF Investor Co. grantor trust. They went ahead and foreclosed on the property. And here we have it. They now own the property, and now they're trying to sell the property. So buyers are seeing this, and I can show you a number of other properties that are, exactly like this. That is why we put together the top 100 opportunities, just to show you what is going on with the market and to show you that there are buyers out there looking at these properties saying, wow, I'm so glad that I didn't buy it 2 years ago for all this money. Well, now this is actually, pretty decent. I can actually take a look at this. This is a fairly decent property. I'm just going to show you one more property, and this is going to be priced at $319,000. And this is going to be, let's go to $319,000. Here we have it. We have Janelle Lane in Liberty Hill. Nothing to this property. This is going to be one of those tract new construction homes. They are offering a assumable VA note on this, but there's really nothing special about this property. You can tell bad craftsmanship when you look at some of the pictures in this property, like really bad. Take a look at that tub insert. Look at the drywall right there. So not the greatest construction in the world, but let me show you really quick the history on this property. And it's really fascinating because this property is currently in the market for $319,000. And you can see by looking at tax record that this property was purchased for $321,000. $321,000, and this is right in 2022. And now it's on the market for $319,000. It started at $390,000. Heck, it started at $405,000. So they buy the property, almost immediately put the property up for sale, roughly about a year later at $405,000. It's okay, we got to get out of this. And then, of course, it gets withdrawn only 11 days. That's really interesting. They relist the property at $390,000. Now we're at $319,000, which is now less than what they paid for the property. Did it say that the mortgage was only $10,000? No, they had a $10 million tax record deed there, but that's related to the new construction side of things. So no, that nothing to do with that. It was $321,000. That's how much the mortgage was for the property, $321,000. So they could have paid even more for the property. We know that the mortgage on that property, what was filed with tax record, public records, was $321,000. And you're absolutely right. It did go under contract. Here we have it. So we've got new hold back on the market. It went under contract one time. So it was put on hold, and then it did go active under contract on April 18th. We don't know if they put anything down on a VA, probably not. So it would be great for someone to assume it. Yeah, there we go. 2.875 assumable VA, now priced at $319,000. No, really amazing. But this is all contributing to that mindset, that psychological mindset of buyers right now, which is, and keep in mind, at one point, that psychology becomes somewhat irrational, where this property could be $250,000, and you're like that's really good. And the buyer says, well, what if it's $175,000 a year from now? It's like, well, I mean, I guess it could be, but I just don't see that happening. So buyers right now, there are some buyers that doesn't matter how good and favorable the environment will be, it simply doesn't matter. There's always going to be, well, tomorrow's going to be better. Bottom line is that what do we do as agents? Well, we always engage with the community, engage with our database, engage with our clients. We answer questions. We are with data authority. We always rely on data. We don't try to guess, predict the future. None of us have the ability to do that. And we stack our pipeline. We simply keep on reaching out to people. Some people that were going to wait 3 years might, go ahead and make a decision because it's the best thing for their family tomorrow. And then some people that were hoping to do it tomorrow might decide that they want to go ahead and wait a year. That's just the reality of the market that we're currently experiencing. Publishing the top 100 opportunities just keeps you engaged with the people that have come to trust you, know you, love you. They want to see you succeed, and they know that you're the one providing information that will help them. So I can create the content. I can personalize it. Everyone here received an email from me that is personalized to you, meaning when you click on that MLS number, it goes to your personal subdomain. So when they click on this property, when they like this property, love this property, it goes to you. It doesn't go to the main team price. It goes to you. So we can do the work. We can give the content. What I can do is make you publish it. That's on you, right? That's on you just to copy and paste, download that top 100, upload it to social media, and publish that and engage with people that you currently have in your database and really your broader database. So we went ahead and updated the weekly. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on year over year. We can see that 2 weeks ago, new listings were down 8.7% year over year. So far, we're down 14.6%. On the pending side of things, this is where it gets interesting because we now have the fourth week where pendings are down year over year. And unfortunately, pendings are actually down even more than the new listings are down. So 2 weeks ago, we're down 19% on pendings year over year. That is why the ratio is a 0.70 as opposed to a 0.79 a year ago. So far, the ratio is 0.58. It was 0.89 last year. Let's go ahead and start updating the monthly information so that we can see what's going on month to date. And we are on the 22nd of the month, so we've got plenty of days, plenty of data to see what is going on and how the month is going to end. We're going to go Travis, Williamson, Bastrop, Caldwell, Burnett, Hayes. There we go. And we're going to go the entire month of September. New listings so far this month, we are looking at, and this is going to be residential, keep that in mind, we're looking at 2587, 2587. Now let's take a look at price increase. We're at 549. Let's take a look at price decrease. We have 5135. Let's take a look at back on the market. We're at 524 back on the market, 20%, a little bit less than the 2 months prior to that. Active under contract, 1124, and then pending. Okay, interesting, you all. Do you think we broke 1,000? Yes or no? Go ahead and write it down over chat. Do you think we broke 1,000 on the pending? It's the 22nd of the month. What do you think? I need a few guesses right there over chat. Do you think we broke 1,000 on pending? What do you think? Yes or no? Okay, Anais starting us off. No. Thank you, Anais, for sharing. Let's get a few more people sharing. Okay, we've got Violet. No. We've got Sonia. No. All right, we've got enough people that shared. Bottom line is no, you're absolutely right. We did not break 1,000. As a matter of fact, we're at 858. We're at 858 pending. That's going to give us a ratio of 0.64 so far for the month. What does this mean? Well, it means that we are going to be lagging last month and we're going to be lagging last year, September of last year. Those two are going to beat out this month, September of 2025. Let's take a look at sold. How many properties have closed so far in the entire 6-county area? Wow, we're at 1,393. 1,393 properties have closed so far this month. 777 is going to be the withdrawn. And so far, 338 expired. So far, from October to September, we've had a total of 16,893 properties either expire or withdraw. That is an amazing figure. When we take a look at October, so 16,833, the previous year was 14,674. So you can see that we're going up on the expireds and withdrawns this year compared to last year, and we still have an entire week left this month where we're going to see more withdrawns and we're going to see more expired. So certainly something to keep in mind. When you take a look at the year over year, on the new listing side, we are down 29.9%. What this means is we are not going to beat last September, on the number of new listings. We're going to have less new listings this September compared to September of last year, but we're going to have way less pendings and solds. So far, we're only down 29.9% year over year on new listings, but we're down 44.1% on properties going under contract, and we're down 40% on sold properties. So apart from price increases, we've already had more price increases this year compared to last year. We could very well end negative. Apart from active listings, we are up 11%. Price increase, we could very well end up negative across the board. I would say we're going to have more withdrawals this September compared to September of last year. I mean, there's no environment where we're not going to have more withdrawals. That right there is going to be your new listing to pending ratio update. Let's go ahead and transition to a comprehensive market update. Then we're going to take a look at our economic calendar, see what we can expect this week, what kind of data is going to influence the market. And then we're going to call it a lid. So we can see that we currently have 16,989 active listings currently on the market. 58.4% of those active listings have had at least one price drop. Year over year, we are up 14.2% on active listings. Let me adjust this a little bit just so that you can see the entire graph. There we go. Perfect. Now, right there. Now it's perfect. Cumulative new listings. We are up, even though we have about another week or so left in the month. We already hit a record high. This is the first time. New record. New beginnings, new record. First time from January through September, first time on record that we officially crossed 40,000 new listings entered the market. 40,393, and we still have 1 week to go for new listings. We are already up 3.1%. On the pending side of things, we are down 3% compared to last year. We currently have 4,069 active homes currently on the, or pending homes currently on the market. Last year we had 4,193. Cumulative pending 33,162. So we are down 5.3. And on the activity index side of things, we have an activity index of 19.3%, resale 16.15, new construction 27.37. Now, I want you to guess. Guess what the activity index is for downtown Austin 78701 zip code. Let's take a look at it really quick. We're going to go to Insight in Statistics. We're going to go to Activity Index zip code. Let's make this a little bit bigger. The activity index for the 78701 dropped down to 3.7%. 3.7%. Let's take a look really quick, months of inventory, because I want to give you like the true months of inventory, because on that specific spreadsheet or that specific report, what we do is we cap the months of inventory at 11 just for the purpose of our graphs. But on this one, we actually show you like the true months of inventory. And you can see that the 78701 zip code has, 11.85, just a little bit higher than 11. But we've got an activity index of 3.7. Now, take a look at this. Every single place where you see a red box with that crossed out 0, what that means is that there are active properties currently on the market, but no pendings. Active, but no pendings. Isn't that amazing? And we can see up here, there are 233 active properties in that zip code, 9 pending properties in the zip code. 9 pending properties. And we have entire blocks with no activity. So really amazing, really interesting to see. I mean, from the 150 to the 450, we've got active properties currently on the market and not a single property is pending. From 550 to 650. Can you say again what zero means? Well, that's not a zero because it doesn't mean that the activity index is zero, that there is no activity. So it's the absence of any activity. So that means that there are active properties currently on the market with nothing pending. So there is no, it's like it's a void. That's why I chose to use that symbol as opposed to a zero. There's zero, yes, there is zero activity, but there's a void of activity. There's a complete void of pendings, but there are properties that are currently active on the market. Because if there were no active properties on the market, well, then that's just going to be completely blank. So I wanted something just to signify like, hey, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Does that make sense? That's why I did the zero with the cross. You can just say it's zero. There is nothing. No properties pending while there are active properties currently in the market. Now, if you want to see the entire 78701 report and you want to see, well, how many properties are in the market within those price points, that's what this is designed. So you can see that from the 350 to the 950, you've got 5, 14, 15. We got 17 properties currently in the market, and we've got zero. There's nothing. There's a void of pendings. There's not one pending currently on the market. Really amazing. And then you've got some other areas that are actually doing fairly well. Real estate's always going to be hyper-local. You take a look at Kyle. We're at 30.1% activity index, which is really, really good. Very healthy, very encouraging to see that. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, whether it's Smithfield, Dale, Spicewood, you've got activity index that are way low. The entire Austin, the Metro Austin area, is at 17.2%. And then within the Austin area, you've got the 78701 zip code at 3.7%. And then you've got other zip codes that are actually doing really quite well. New listing to pending ratio for the month is currently at a 0.63. We've had 7,231 on the plus side, the difference between new listings and pending. And the new listing to pending ratio for the entire year is at a 0.70. Months of inventory went up a little bit. We were under 6 months of inventory. We are now at 6.02 months of inventory, and that's going to be a gain of 13.3% year over year. You can see that the city of Austin is up 1.4% year over year, and it is up 23.5% year to date. We are projecting roughly 2,279 to be exact, 100 properties or 2,279 properties to sell this month. And our projection, based on what's going to happen this month, is that we are going to be, of course, lagging last year on the number of sales at 4.5%. Cumulative sold per 100,000 people, currently at 894. 894 cumulative sold per 1,000 people. There's that number right there. And we can see where we rank compared to all the other years. And then let's keep on going. We've got cumulative sold per 1,000 realtors. 1,222. That's going to be the cumulative sold per 1,000 realtors. I do expect this number to go up next month because guess what's going to happen at the end of this month? What happens at the end of this month? Did y'all get your pay me up email? Realtors have to pay their dues. And we do expect a drop of, I'd say, over 1,000. I would say that 1,000 people are going to let their license not renew with the board. That's going to cause the number of sold properties per the number of realtors to actually go up because we're going to have less realtors competing for those sales. I do expect a pretty significant drop. on the number of realtors between the end of September and the beginning of October. And we have the average sold price at $559. That is down month over month at 4.7. $435 on the median. That is down $5,000. You can see the median sold price at $435, still up year over year, but down month over month. When you look at the median sold price and you compare it to 36 months prior, we are down 7.5%, 0.45%. And the high versus low, the top 25th percentile compared to the bottom 25th percentile. The bottom 25th percentile is down 4.3% on the price, down 2.5% on the price per foot. The top 25th percentile is up 6% on price and up 2.2% on the price per foot. And so far, out of the 30 cities that we track, 10 of them have still gone up in price year over year. 20 have actually gone down in price year over year. The absorption rate, you simply take everything that's active on the market, you divide it by everything that's sold. Last month, we are not going to update the month of September until a few days from now. I'm going to wait until, when is Thursday? Thursday is going to be, let's take a look at the calendar here. Today is the 22nd, September 22nd. Thursday is going to be the 25th. I'll have this updated for Thursday. So Thursday, we're going to have this updated. We have to wait until a lot of activity happens throughout the month, or else the number is going to be artificially way too small. So we're going to wait until Thursday to update the absorption rate along with the market flow score. Let's take a look at the economic calendar, see what's going on with this. And we did have 2 bond auctions this morning. We had the 3-month that came in less than the previous. Same thing with the 6-month. Let's take a look at what's going to happen this week. We've got Chair Powell speaks tomorrow at 11:35 a.m. That's going to be really important, so we're going to keep a really good eye on that. We've got our M2 money supply. That's fairly important. We have building permits, new home sales, a lot of real estate data coming out. We've got a 5-year auction happening on Wednesday at 12. And then on Thursday, we have inflation numbers. We've got the core PCE. We've got the GDP, not the preliminary, but the final GDP. That's going to be on Thursday. Really important day. Personal consumption expenditure prices are going to be out on Thursday. Existing home sales. We've got a few more auctions. A lot of Fed members are going to be speaking this week. That always moves the market. The big day is going to be Friday at 0730. That's going to be the main inflation numbers that the Fed looks at, personal consumption expenditure, along with real personal consumption, personal spending, personal income. And that's what the market is anticipating for Friday. Are we going to have hotter than expected numbers? If for some reason we have better than expected numbers, the forecast is that core PC is going to come in at 0.2, previous at a 0.3. Same thing with personal income. They're expecting that to come down a little bit. Their forecast is 0.3 from a previous of 0.4. If the numbers match their forecast, I would say that it's going to be positive for the bond market. If the numbers beat the forecast, meaning that they're better than the forecast, let's say that PC inflation numbers come in better than expected, that's going to be very positive for the bond market. We can expect more demand and therefore a higher bond price and therefore a lower yield. So it's going to be a very consequential week for real estate. A lot of real estate data will be released. That's why we do have a Friday meeting this next Friday, where we're going to go over all these numbers, new home sales, overall home sales, the bond market, what happened with inflation. So be sure to join us for the meeting on Friday. Super important that you are there. Yeah, just confirmed. Yeah, absolutely. We are having a meeting on Friday. It is 10:51 right now, you all. Any questions? Any questions? You can write it down over chat. You can unmute yourself. Okay, I already have one question. Here's a private question. Dan, can you show us the list of the special listing condition list? Absolutely. Let's go take a look at it. That's going to be under active residential inventory. Let's scroll down a little bit, make this a little bit bigger so that you can see it. And we can see that the active residential inventory, there's the special listing condition. And we are looking at 5 notice of default, 72 short sale, 14 pre-foreclosure, 9 in foreclosure, 8 auction, 4 bankruptcy, 93 real estate owned, 20 third-party approval, 12 HUD. Now, keep in mind, this requires the agent to actually go on the MLS and under special listing condition, mark that the property is real estate owned or in foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. And a lot of agents don't do that. They either don't do that because they don't even know that the field is there, or they're like, well, I don't want to mark it as a foreclosure or REO or bank owned. It's going to stigmatize the property. I think that's nonsense. I hate it when they don't do that. If they don't add that criteria because they don't know the product, the MLS, maybe they're not equipped or trained, I've got some grace when it comes to that. Okay, let's get them trained. But when they purposefully remove it or when they purposefully do not include that, or you can just go to tax record and figure that out, not a fan of that. You ought to present the property with all the information that you are aware of. There's nothing wrong with saying the property is real estate owned. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's just go ahead and present it with the actual status of the property. But it's never going to reflect the true nature of the market. The only way to actually find the properties that are real estate owned is by using Realist. When you go to Realist, you can create your own personal search. You can select the county. So for example, I'm going to use the 6-county area, and I've got my list right here. So here's my foreclosure list. I already have it here. So distress sale. We're going to go foreclosure stage, pre-foreclosure. So there are 274 auction. Now that number goes up from 274 to 1,747 bank owned. Now, this number goes up to 2,474. When you add in those 3 stages in the 6-county area, 2,472. I think I said 74. 2,472. And this is pulling directly from tax record. That's going to be the most accurate information. And you can see, wow, look at that. Anything in green means it's currently active on the market. And then anything red shows that at one point it's sold on the MLS. Anything that has a little black mark is going to show that the property sold at one point. So we've got a fairly decent amount of greens. Here's a property, $210,000, Shepherd Mountain. That's going to be bank owned. We've got this property. Is this River Place? I think this is River Place. Glen Lake, Row Trust. This MLS 815. Let's take a look at this one here really quick. Look at this one. That's a nice one right there. Let's take a look at this property. Not a fan. Just don't like this front picture. I can tell you. Oh my goodness. You get a bed. This is not River Place. It's fairly near there. You get a bed, y'all. Take a look at that. When you buy this property, you get a nice bed frame. Come on. You could have at least put the picture right direction. Whoa. Why did they do this? Why do they do the pictures this way where you have to tilt your head to see the pictures? Wow, you all. Oh, look at that planter. I would have put that planter somewhere else. Water damage. Wow. That's a smell of money right there. Oh, the plates come with the property. Look at that. Everything is completely gone, but you do have the fridge. That's a nice looking fridge. And then you have a stack of plates there. Weird place for a sink. Weird place for a sink. Wow. You got, that toilet. Oh, look at that toilet. That's some elbow grease to get that bad boy clean. So that property is bank owned. We've got this property right here. Looks like this one expired. Auction. This is nice. I like this one. So that went up for auction. The listing expired. That's in Steiner Ranch. Nice looking property. I like this. Yeah, look at that. Auction. So there you have it. When you look at the MLS, the entire list has 548. But if I were just to add the in foreclosure, pre-foreclosure auction, that number comes out to what? 17 plus 14. That's 33. So we've got 33. Same county area, but when I look at Realist, we have 2,472. So not everything that's happening out there in the market is being reported on the MLS. You've got a lot of properties right here that are currently in auction. Some of them are active listings. Here's one. This is in Austin's Colony, active listing currently in the market. And then when you scroll down, you can see that we just had this. Here we go. Appointment of substitute trustee. And this is going to go up for foreclosure. The bank doesn't want to foreclose on it immediately. Oh, look at that. They got foreclosed on back in 2000. Different person, of course, got foreclosed on back in 2006. And now here you have the same exact thing is happening with this property in 2025. There you have it. It is currently active on the market. And come on, I want to go to this property. Yes, I want to proceed. Take me to the property. Might have to copy the MLS number. Let's go ahead and copy the MLS number really quick. It used to take you directly there, but now you have to copy the MLS number. So you can see this property is currently in the market, and they are saying that it's a notice of default pre-foreclosure short sale. This is going to be in Austin's Colony, vacant. Very simple home, decent floor plan. But that is why I expect investors to come back into the market, because if I'm an investor, heck, I'll send an offer for $180,000. Why wouldn't I? It's not a big deal. It's currently in the market for $230,000. And they purchased this property way back in 2018 for $164,000. I don't know. Did they do a refi on the property at one point? Let's take a look at it. Yes, they did. They did a refi. It did an FHA refi 2024. They did a bunch of refis. Wow. Y'all, they've been refining every few years. So they buy the property in 2006. They do a cash out refi 14, 17, 18, 22, 24, and then another one 24. So they've been extracting the equity of this property since the second they bought this property. And now it's like, all right, bank, I already pulled all the money out of this property. You can have it now. That's pretty much what happened. But this was 151. The property's currently in the market for 230. Yeah, I'm sending an offer for $180,000, $175,000, $180,000. Why not? That's what I would do. Why not? So a lot of properties like this, you all. So take a look at Realist, look at the information, see if you can find something, and hey, reach out to the listing agent, ask for permission for you to do some advertising on it. Hey, notice you've got a property currently on the market as a short sale, pre-foreclosure. Do you mind if I take a look at it, do social media content? It's stuff like that is worth it. Bring the investors in. I wonder if the Jeep comes with the property. Pretty cool looking Jeep right there. Let's take a look at this one. This is the last one. It is 11 o'clock. This is the last deal we're going to take a look at. We are going to see notice of sale back in March 28th of 2025. Let's take a look at this property, see how they're advertising. Oh, this one, they're saying it closed. That's not even the right property. Let's go take a look. Where's the MLS? Okay, it shows that it expired. So it's probably not on the market right now. This expired way back in the day. But let's take a look, see if we can find anything related. Yeah, this one's not on the market, which is really interesting. Here's a property not on the market, and, pretty amazing. So this is a pretty shocking number, wouldn't you say? 2,472. That's a pretty shocking number. Really, really interesting. It is 11:01, you all. Any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, or complaints? Any questions? Going once. Going twice. All right, you all. Thank you all so very much for joining. Super appreciate it. Do not forget to join our Wednesday training, broker Q&A contract review training, Wednesday at 10 a.m., also over Zoom, the same link. I will send you reminders of that. And then once again, we are having our Friday meeting. If you do have any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, complaints, always feel free to reach out. Super appreciate each and every one of you. Love this job. Big part of the reason I love this job is because I get to work with you all. Thank you all so much for joining. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you, Val. I appreciate it. You all enjoy your day. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'm here to help.